Welcome back. I've been trying to make this video for, well, the past few days, and every time something goes wrong with the audio capture on the PC. So we're going to give this one more shot. Welcome. Today I'm going to be giving you a little bit of insight into the podcast editing process. So Project 3 is going to involve a lot of the steps behind actually making a podcast, hosting a podcast, and all those fun things. And the first step of that is going to be getting the raw audio files that we record ready to be edited. And so my colleague Ed and I take turns doing this, and this one for the Fantastic Mr. Fox is my turn to edit. And as a result, I'm going to be showing you how I go about leveling the audio, making sure that both tracks sound good, and getting it sliced or spliced together. The first step to this process is really going in and, making sure everything works. So, waveform. Sorry, wave sign. It's starting to strike me like movie sign now. And you get some insight. I can already tell here that I think our audio is a little bit split just by looking at the waveforms themselves. I guess Jules and Jim is on our thing now since we made a deal with
long a movie, and I think you would like it.
Our fan.
Curse me, I don't have an open.
All right, maybe, yeah.
So we might have to freelance that, but oh well.
Oh, that's okay. Fine. There we go. So even here, I can kind of visually see it set together. But the first step is really to go in, and I like to make use of Adobe Audition's adaptive noise reduction. So this is fantastic because here you get to take out any annoying pops. Well, not pops, but the hiss that might accompany your microphone. Sometimes it just picks up background ambiance, and that is not necessarily good. So I guess to take it back a step, because this is the third time I'm making this, the first real step is to grab my colleague's recording off of Google Drive. We both make our own recordings each week. He uses Audacity. I use Adobe Audition because I have to subscribe to the Creative Cloud for other purposes. So the first step is to go through and highlight both of our individual tracks, go through and do this adaptive noise reduction. And hopefully that will work for what we need. All right, so about a minute left of the adaptive noise reduction, and I can even go in here and see there's a little bit less time on my track. So as soon as that is done going through its process, it will become undimmed about now. And the next step is going to be equalizing the tracks, and this is just to give it a little bit better audio quality, just because our microphone's raw recording settings aren't always the best. And here, to hopefully avert any other audio issues, I've actually gone back to my first USB condenser microphone, a Samson CO1U USB studio condenser microphone. It is a trusty microphone. I've had a lot of good luck with it, and unlike my Yeti, it does not seem to cause as many issues with the recording aspect. You can see, though, that equalizing the tracks is a lot faster. It doesn't take nearly as long. Adaptive noise reduction is going to be one of the more intense processes that you can do, so I'll just make sure this is all highlighted. Go in and add Ed's equalization that I have set as a preset for each of us. And even when Ed is editing the episodes, I tend to go through this phase for the tracks just to make sure that they're going to sound roughly the same, and that the episodes are going to, again, roughly be the same across different episodes. Otherwise, the audio quality might differ, the master volume might differ quite a bit, which is what we're going to attempt to fix in our next step. So you'll see down here in this little middle panel, there's a match loudness feature. That might not automatically be there, but if you go to Window, Match Loudness, it'll show up. You can then drag in both of your original files, pull them in here, and this will automatically go about making sure they are the same overall volume. Now, it's not a perfect process. There are times when I have to go back and manually edit certain sections where it might be abnormally quiet, but as a whole, it's a huge time saver. And one of the reasons why, if you're on the fence, you might want to go in for the Creative Cloud subscription, just because this program does make things a little bit easier. I know my collaborator Ed uses the free program WavePad for Mac, and he's had good luck with that, so I can't complain. But again, I have to subscribe to this anyway, so why not use Audition? Okay, so here we're roughly in tune. So we've got, oh, actually, I didn't run it yet. So this just analyzed these two, and you can see it's at negative 26 and negative 22 LUFS, respectively. I don't know what a LUF is, but I know from some general research that typical podcast should be at negative 16 LUFS. So in the Match Loudness feature, we use the ITU RBS 1773 loudness setting set to target negative 16 LUFS with a tolerance of 0.2 LUFS. I do not know what this means at all, but I know that it is pretty accurate at getting it to be equally loud without being too loud, and as a whole, I've been sticking with this just to make it so that there's some consistency. Alright, so both of these are now done, and you can see the reanalyzation sets are at negative 17 LUFS, which is close enough for all intents and purposes. You can see how the waveform has changed, but even here, I don't think this is, well, this might be part of the episode. Welcome to the Criterion Correction. Okay, this is part of the episode. So that means that is Ed saying his name, which I might have to boost.
Badger Zed.
And I'm Ed.
Not too bad.
And this podcast will be done.
Okay, so because that's the beginning, I can go in and cut out all of our beginning chatter. Sorry, folks. Maybe you'll get a behind-the-scenes view when we do a live stream later on this month or next month. But for now, we're going to go and make sure everything is lined up appropriately. Looks like it's pretty good.
But are they filled with phantasms?
Oh, I wish. No phantasm, Mr. Fox.
Is it phenomenal?
All right.
Phenomenal.
So our little beginning shtick here. So what I am essentially going to do is play through this and just go through the intro and then add in our music, our theme.
Welcome to the
Criterion Correction. My name is Dr. Badger Zed, and I'm Ed. In this podcast, we'll be delving deep into the Criterion Collection of films, trying to figure out exactly what it says about cinema as a whole and what makes a movie worthy of being added to the collection. Join us as we decide, should we collect them all? Tonight, we are traveling back to one of our fan favorites, the oeuvre of the fantastic Wes Anderson, and I must say that I really enjoy his fantastic movies. They are just filled with fantasy and fantastic imagery. But are they filled with phantasms? Oh, I wish. No phantasms, but they are filled with foxes sometimes. But tonight we are watching... Are they fanatic foxes? You could describe that, but they are... but tonight we'll be watching Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay, yeah, and here's an example where Ed is jumping into our beginning shtick before I get to announce the movie, which is, slightly annoying. Ed. Anyway, so roughly here's where I announce the movie title. So I'm going to make a slice there. I've got set up so that a single key press of K, it's not the default, will just cut through all audio tracks. And now I'll go into the media browser tab, pull in our final mix wave, which is the theme song we had constructed for us. I'm going to pull these out slightly. And then, all right, and then I tend to use that as our launching point. So I will go and here, this line is how you can adjust the volume for individual clips or segments. So I can drop it down to negative 20 or negative 19, which is usually what I do.
Welcome to the Criterion Correction. My name is
Dr. Badger Zed.
And this is my favorite
favorite
feature, what I like to call the chipmunk version of the podcast, which only I get to hear, because I don't think Ed does his editing in the same way. But I would like to one day actually release an episode that is entirely done in chipmunk form.
trying to
figure out exactly what it says about cinema as a whole and what makes a movie worthy of being added to the collection. Join us as we decide, should we collect them all? Tonight we are traveling back to one of our fan favorites, the oeuvre of the fantastic Wes Anderson, and I must say that I really enjoy his fantastic movies. They are just filled with fantasy and fantastic imagery.
And then, of course, because of this, we're running into an issue where we don't have the title before the end.
fantastic imagery.
So I'm going to make the editorial decision to maybe pull this out. Go here.
Certainly not dark in the least. Tonight we will be watching Fantastic Mr. Fox. We will be watching Fantastic tonight.
And so I'll make a slice here. Then I'm going to take this back. And so this is where audio editing gets to be really fun, because now...
Tonight we will be watching Fantastic Mr. Fox.
And there, you can't even tell that there were interruptions by my collaborator. And I'll see if I can massage in his little intro shtick somehow after this. But for now, I'm going to stop this video just to ensure that it actually has recorded for once. And later on, I'll come back and go through the rest of my process for editing an episode. You'll get to hear more of the chipmunk version of the podcast. And I'll also cover a little bit of how to set up a podcast hosting site through WordPress and PowerPress, and go through the basics of making metadata, all that fun stuff next time on the Weekly Build.